Okay, so I'm going to be interviewing you on on how the school start times affect students' grades and how they work at school.
Okay.
Okay, so do you agree with the current start times for school, and how do you feel about them?
Well, I definitely think that there needs to be some changes to the start times. I feel that having 2 kids in the school system, and I'm part of the school start dismissal time committee for the school system, and so I think they're definitely they need to be looked at and reconsidered on all levels.
Why do you think a later start time would be beneficial towards students, though?
The high school research shows that high school students, their sleep cycles, they can't fall asleep early the way that younger kids can, like elementary age. So they end up staying up later. They have activities after school, and then by the time they come home, eat dinner, do their homework, and they're getting to bed late, and they just naturally can't fall asleep early. They need that extra little bit of sleep in the morning, and then they're more alert in class. If you talk to the high school teachers now, a lot of first period, kids are tired. They need that sleep. And the elementary students, they need to flip in. They're always up early in the morning, so a lot of them would benefit from going earlier.
Okay, so what do you think the times should be for the school? So what should be flopped?
What should be flopped?
Yeah.
So it's hard, and so I guess it depends on what they're going to be allowed to work within, because right now the Board of Education has given limits in terms of what can be done. The committee itself, when we were looking at it, we didn't know that they were going to say all secondary must start after 8:15. I think that right now it would be good for elementary to start at 7:30, 7:45, and high school it would be more beneficial to have them start about 8:30, 8:45, closer, almost flopping the elementary and high school.
What are some of the reasons you think that students, or more so high schoolers, don't achieve the best night's sleep?
I think there's quite a few factors. I think that times have changed in terms of academics. I think that we expect more of the students now than we did 20 years ago. I think a lot of parents come up with the excuse, I used to get up early for school in high school, why can't they do it now? But the demands are higher. Kids are in a lot of activities. There's sports, there's after school clubs, and they just plus technology has changed. And so I think that a combination of all those things, they just can't, their sleep patterns, they just can't fall asleep. There's too much to keep them going.
What then, adding on to that, what would the ideal time be for students to be going to sleep?
Well, so if we're looking at the high school students, you would hope that they would be asleep by, I'd say 10 o'clock. If you're looking at elementary, I think that they should be asleep probably, by, 8 o'clock, at the younger age. Maybe 8:30 if they're in, 5th grade, a little bit older, and then middle school falls in between.
Mm-hmm. So, in what ways would extracurricular activities be changed, and maybe how? Because some sports are after school, and so.
Yeah, so that's something that could significantly change, and so some activities in sports, they might have to hold their practices before school, and then that kind of goes against the whole concept of having them start school later, because if you're then going to just hold sports practices earlier. So I think it's just going to be, recognizing that there's going to have to be a sharing of the fields. I know a lot of the fields in the area at the high schools are used by the parks and recs, and so the school system's going to have to work out a way with the community to find a better way to share the fields.
So going off of what you said earlier about how high schoolers would maybe switch with elementary schooler times, then do you think the students will take advantage of the later start times? And if so, how could we prevent that?
Well, I think that in terms of taking advantage, I think some will. Again, it comes down to technology. You guys have access, and the high school kids have access, their phones are in their room. They can text their friends. You can watch videos on your phone. You know, when I was growing up, we didn't have that. We were lucky to have a little TV in our room, if we were lucky, a little black and white TV. And so I think it's really going to be on the parents to just really instill the good habits, study habits and sleep habits for the kids, and to, you know, make sure that they're getting to bed at a decent time and just, you know, getting into that pattern.
In what ways will the amount of homework change due to the different start times?
I don't know that homework is going to change at all. I think that homework will probably remain the same. I think that, you know, overall, as a whole, I do know that the county is looking at homework just because of the grading policies. But I think that it will probably be able to remain the same.
Okay, then. How will like parents feel about not like being able to have like if they had like a teenage like kid? How would they feel about not having their like teenage kid being able to like babysit or like watch over their younger kid if that was the deal?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely, you know, going to be a little bit different. So that older kid would be home in the morning to potentially help watch the child in the morning, but they wouldn't be home after school. And so there's really going to need to be some more things put into place with after-school programs and aftercare programs for the younger students, and things that aren't, you know, just sitting around. But it's going to have to be things that are more stimulating and active for the kids. But there's definitely going to be a shift in terms of those.
And lastly, what do you think teachers and parents think about the change in start times, if that would happen?
Actually, I hear from, because of my position and what I do, I hear from teachers, and I've heard from parents, and there's a real split. So some of the high school teachers are absolutely do not want, they want it to stay the way it is now. They don't want anything to change. They like the times. Some of them recognize that the high school students are tired in the mornings and that they should have that extra sleep. A lot of it comes down to the personal, what's going on with them, childcare. Sometimes it's hard to find childcare early if they have their own children. And so there's a lot of challenges, and I think that no matter what is decided, it just has to be, the school system has to give enough notice for everybody to put things in place. I think, you know, parents are split as well. Some parents are very happy, and some are very concerned, especially at the elementary level. They don't want their kids walking in the dark to school. They don't want them standing in the bus stop in the wintertime when it's dark. And these are true valid concerns. And so I don't think it's something, I know it's something that the school system actually, I think we're in the third year of looking at it. So it's not something that the school system has just jumped into, really trying to weigh the pros and cons and to have input from all the community and stakeholders involved.